Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
I'm Rebecca Drake. I'll introduce you to the chairman of the Springfield Diocese's new Catholic Regional School Project. Hear what he has to say about the plans for the new school.
I'm Carolee McGrath. I'll take you to the 8th Annual Catholic Women's Conference.
And a shrine dedicated to the most important mother of all. These stories and more are just ahead on this edition of Reel to Reel.
Here is your Reel to Reel host, Sharon Roulier.
Hello and welcome to Reel to Reel. One of the most important issues facing Catholic dioceses throughout this nation is the promotion and preservation of Catholic education. Here in Western Massachusetts, this issue became paramount when the June 2011 tornado severely damaged the Cathedral High School campus on Surrey Road in Springfield. When plans for the merger of Cathedral and Holyoke Catholic High Schools to form a new regional Catholic high school were announced this past February, the diocese took a bold step toward the advancement of Catholic secondary education in Western Massachusetts. Rebecca Drake has an exclusive interview now with the man who is leading this initiative to make the new school a reality.
Paul Gagliarducci, chairman of the Springfield Diocese's new Catholic Secondary Education Initiative, has nearly 30 years of experience as an educational administrator.
I've been involved with school consolidation issues. I've been involved with school building projects. And probably one of the things that I think I can bring to the table is my experience in looking ahead to the future and planning for the future.
What he also brings to the table is his family's long-standing dedication to the Catholic Church in Western Massachusetts.
My grandfather was one of the starters of the Mount Carmel Church, and I actually have pictures of he and my grandmother sitting in front of a large group of people with the parish priest at some celebration back in the early 1900s. And my dad, who took over the family construction business, did a lot of work with the diocese. So part of me says maybe I represent the third generation of the Gagliarducci family to do something positive for the diocese.
As he continues his family's commitment to the church, Paul Gagliarducci says Bishop Rosansky has given him 3 goals: to merge Holyoke Catholic and Cathedral High Schools, to build a new school, and to recommend a new governance structure.
I think the bishop challenged everybody with the concept of sustainability. This is I think our one last shot to get this right.
The issue of sustainability, along with enrollment trends and affordability, he says, are concerns that began years before the tornado struck in 2011.
You had a facility that was far more than you needed for what the population was given. So there had to have been some serious discussions in the future. Somebody had to look at the situation and say, we have to do something.
So, in beginning the task entrusted to him by the bishop, Paul turned first to those who will be most affected by the merger, now and in the future: the students.
We need to hear from them about the things that we're going to do over the next year or so in terms of bringing the students together, whether it be social events, whether it be retreats, whether it be just opportunities for them to get to learn about each other.
And the students from both Cathedral and Holyoke Catholic, he says, are bringing positive energy to the planning of the school.
I think there's a level of excitement about finally we're going to have a new school. They look at finally we're going to have a facility that is on one piece, one property, and our athletic fields are there, and we're going to have an auditorium, and we're going to have the gymnasium, and we're going to have some really nice facilities.
The students also are focused on preserving and honoring the traditions of both schools and creating new ones together.
There's a strong desire not to forget the roots that other people, the alumni, started for them, and how we bring those together.
The next important step in the creation of the new school will be the announcement of the school's name and location, expected at the end of the school year in June. An announcement that will resolve, but not remove, the emotional issues surrounding the merger.
Some people will think it's wonderful. Some people will be angry. Some people will say, I'm ready to give now in terms of financial support. Some people will say, I'm never going to give.
But as the students and staff of both schools work to merge academic programs and athletic teams, they are all focused on one important goal.
To set up a school that has sustainability, provides a wonderful program for children, is an academically rich program, and also offers a lot of other opportunities for students, all under the umbrella of a strong religious education.
Paul Gagliarducci hopes that when the new school is built, the doors will open to a Catholic secondary education that preserves the very best of two exceptional diocesan schools.
I'm hoping that whatever this new high school, whatever it looks like, I'm hoping we have sort of this alumni hall where we really capture through pictures and maybe trophies and other things that students can walk down and know that they came from two traditionally rich high schools, and that their job is to keep much of that spirit and tradition alive under a new name, under a new banner. And I think that would be the challenge that they're faced with, and we are too.
Faced with this challenge in the coming months, Paul believes that the many individuals and groups working to bring the vision of the new school to life are on the right path. And 50 years from now, here is what he hopes future students and staff will say.
This high school is still here. It's had 50 years of graduates, and it was a good decision. And we're still vibrant and strong, and we're still focusing on our mission, which is to provide a strong religious and academic education to students across the diocese. I don't think you can ask much more.
The longtime educator also has a special wish for the opening day of the diocese's new regional Catholic high school.
Let's hope the sun is shining and everybody gets to school on time. But I think it'll be an exciting day. It's always exciting.
With a new name, new uniforms, and a new mascot, a new chapter will begin in the history of Catholic education in the Diocese of Springfield. For Real to Real, I'm Rebecca Drake.
There are certainly many challenges and accomplishments ahead for all who are involved in the creation of this new high school and the continuation of the proud traditions of Catholic secondary education in the Springfield Diocese. We will keep you up to date on all of the developments on Real to Real and on our website at iobserve.org and diospringfield.org. And still to come on Real to Real, Dan Dumas has the latest news from the Diocese of Springfield and beyond, and the 2015 Catholic Women's Conference. These stories and more are still to come on this edition of Real to Real.
The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. I'm Passionist Brother Terrence Callan, your Chalice host, inviting you to take time out of your busy days and join us Sunday morning at 10. This week we welcome Passionist Father Lucian Clark and celebrate Mother's Day. The Chalice of Salvation, your spiritual connection, Sunday morning at 10, right here on 22 News.
My name is Karen Blanchard, and I am the Director of Providence Ministries Service Network located in Holyoke. Every day, Providence Ministries provides a hot meal from our kitchen as well as emergency food through our pantry services. Your donation to the Annual Catholic Appeal allows us to help those in greatest need in our community. Every dollar donated stays here in Western Mass. Please consider giving to the Annual Catholic Appeal, and together we can serve with love. To donate, log on to diospringfield.org.
I'm Dan Dumas with your Real to Real News Brief. The final chapter regarding the Diocese of Springfield's pastoral planning efforts, which first began 10 years ago, took place on Monday when the Catholic Church's highest court upheld decisions to reduce the status of two area churches. While both the closing of St. Mary of the Assumption Parish in Northampton and Mater Dolorosa Parish in Holyoke had already been resolved, the status of each church building remained under appeal. On Monday, the Apostolic Signatura, meeting at the Vatican, upheld the previous rulings of the Congregation for the Clergy, saying that the diocese had acted properly in reducing the status to non-sacred for both former churches. Monsignor John Banzani, the Diocesan Pastoral Planning Director, said despite the disappointment some will feel, it was time to move on.
I think it's great that people who felt aggrieved by the decisions that we had to make in pastoral planning, and they were not easy. Some communities decided to appeal and prosecute their rights in the church, which as a canon lawyer I have no problem with. They've done that. They've been heard at every step up to the highest level. And the answer was no, that things had been done properly. I think now what that does is removes a cloud or a question mark over the development of these parishes, and now they can get on toward working together and don't really have to look back or be afraid some decision's going to intervene at some point that's going to change the mix. They can get on with becoming one community around one altar.
In a written statement, Springfield Bishop Mitchell Rosansky, who inherited these matters when he came to the diocese last year, echoed Monsignor Banzani's sentiment. I'm grateful that these decisions have been finally rendered, allowing now for healing to take place in both these communities. While the decisions announced today will bring a measure of disappointment to some, I hope and pray that we can all come together and direct our efforts to these parish communities so that they might become thriving places of faith and spiritual enrichment. These were the last two outstanding decisions, and many of our parishes have benefited over the years from the ministry of consecrated men and women, those who belong to religious orders. As the worldwide church marks a year for consecrated life, Bishop Rosansky gathered local religious back on April 19th for a Mass and dinner. Julie Bollier tells us more.
More than 200 women and men in consecrated life throughout the Diocese of Springfield, including auxiliaries and associates, gathered in Veritas Auditorium on the Our Lady of the Elms College campus for a 4:30 Mass celebrating World Day for Consecrated Life. Springfield Bishop Mitchell T. Rosansky was the main celebrant.
Sometimes ministering in the most discouraging of circumstances, there is still a deep sense of peace and hope because of the presence of religious. What a wonderful sign of the living gospel bringing light into the darkness. Here, joy pierces even the most dire of situations.
Sister Miriam Najimi attended the event and found the bishop's homily inspiring.
This was a beautiful event, and it was wonderful because we were all able to come together, the religious congregations of women and men from throughout the diocese, and I understand from outside the diocese as well. Bishop Rosansky's homily was beautiful. He was right on point. He really hit the mark about our life as consecrated women and men, and I'm hoping we'll have a copy of it. It was just beautiful. I love the directness, the simplicity, and the depth of his message.
Following the Mass, participants shared a meal together on the Elms College campus. In Chicopee, this is Julie Bollier reporting.
And one local woman religious was honored recently for her commitment to social justice and peace. David Martin reports.
It is my pleasure to present the Agnes Broderick Award to my friend and classmate, Sister Kathleen Popko.
Sister of Providence President Kathleen Popko is the 2015 recipient of the Sister Agnes Broderick Justice and Peace Award. The award was presented during the Providence Ministry Service Network's award celebration dinner at the Delaney House in Holyoke.
I accept this award in honor of, really, for all the Sisters of Providence who in so many ways have either assisted on the board or worked in the ministries or given their hard-earned dollars that they might have earned to support this ministry for now these 35 years.
The Agnes Broderick Justice and Peace Award is presented to individuals who stand in compassionate love with the poor. Karen Blanchard, Executive Director of the Providence Ministry Service Network, said Sister Kathleen exemplifies the character of this award.
She's always been there for us, and not only for Providence Ministries, but for the community in general. Her mission really is part of the helping the poor, and we're kind of centralized doing that, but she does it in many, many different ways beyond what even she does for the ministries.
Other award presentations took place during the 26th annual meeting of Providence Ministries for the Needy. Sister Kathleen said the corporation is based on partnerships and collaborations. When attending this event, she said it is encouraging to see many people volunteering and supporting, allowing these ministries to flourish.
So it's an exciting time to gather together with people of like mind who are living the gospel every day and are reaching out to those most in need.
Sister Kathleen was present in 1980 when Sister of Providence Margaret McCleary began Providence Ministries for the Needy with Kate's Kitchen. She said it is exciting to see the ministry grow and diversify over 35 years. In Holyoke, I'm David Martin.
And finally, Easter also marks the time in the church year when many new members are welcomed into our faith through the RCIA process. And Bishop Rosansky welcomed 75 new Catholics to St. Michael's Cathedral recently. Sharon Roulier tells us more.
The Mass was the result of an unusually snowy winter, which forced the cancellation of the annual rite of election service that had been scheduled for March 29th at the cathedral.
There was a huge storm predicted. There was snow everywhere in the parking lot, so we decided to cancel it, but I didn't want to just cancel the whole concept of them coming to be with the bishop, and so we decided to have this Mass instead.
Mm-hmm. And it ended up being a very beautiful day today.
It did. Today's a gorgeous day. So it's a gorgeous day to celebrate all these new Catholics.
Those attending the Mass and luncheon that followed all took part in the rite of Christian initiation for adults and received one or all of the sacraments of baptism, First Eucharist, and confirmation in their parishes during the last year. Kevin Tracy, a parishioner from Mount Carmel Parish in Springfield, said he was thrilled to be welcomed into the Catholic Church. He said it was something he had thought about doing for 30 years or more, and finally his dream came true this year.
I love the Catholic life. I love the Catholic Church. I grew up around Catholics all my life, and I'm so happy I did it. Wow. I feel more closer to God than ever.
And each of these new Catholics signed the Book of the Elect, which is kept at the Cathedral Church. And remember, you can stay informed on all the happenings here in the Diocese of Springfield and beyond at our news and information website, iobserve.org. There you'll find up-to-the-minute and accurate news in the Catholic Church, both here in the Diocese of Springfield and beyond. That's our news and information website, iobserve.org. I'm Dan Dumas, and that's your Real to Real News Brief.
You are watching Reel to Reel, your window on the world around you. Here again is your Reel to Reel host, Sharon Roulier.
It was quite the lineup at the Catholic Women's Conference, which was held recently at the Bellamy Middle School in Chicopee. Mike Leonard, who was a feature reporter for NBC's Today Show for many years and is the producer now of the popular Catholicism series hosted by Father Robert Barron, addressed the hundreds of women gathered at the event. As Carolee McGrath reports, it was a day that allowed all of the attendees to grow closer to God and to be inspired by the faith of other Catholics.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
With an opening prayer from Bishop Mitchell Rosansky, the 8th Annual Catholic Women's Conference was underway at Bellamy Middle School in Chicopee. Close to 400 women of all ages and stages in life gathered to grow closer to the Lord and to be renewed.
I want to talk about, as they said, providence and fate and destiny.
Former Today Show correspondent Mike Leonard, the first speaker, shared his Catholic faith and personal stories about how he found his way in the TV business, and he had the crowd laughing and crying for his hour-long talk. Leonard is also the executive producer of the Catholicism series, the 10-part documentary hosted by Father Robert Barron.
My experience there was just, again, being struck with, wow, I'm in the Garden of Gethsemane. I'm standing here. I'm in Jerusalem. You know, I'm walking these. I went swimming in the Sea of Galilee. You know, and you think back of human beings, you know, who were radically changing the world. And that, to me, was the biggest story.
Leonard is one of 4 boys. He also had an older sister who died as a baby. He attended Catholic schools and went on to play hockey at Providence College. He and his wife Kathy have 4 grown children and 7 grandchildren. They attend Sacred Heart Parish in Winnetka, Illinois. Throughout Leonard's career, he told heartwarming stories that most people would have missed. He reported on the adventures of his family's cross-country trip, which included touching and hysterical moments with his elderly parents. Leonard wrote a book about the experience, The Ride of Our Lives, Roadside Lessons of an American Family. He says his parents always taught him how precious life is.
Life and babies and caring for people who can't care for themselves, I'm not the best at it, but I certainly support it, and I try to be good. And my dad was a good influence that way. He was always nice to everybody. And so I always try to find, if bus boy, you say, hey, how you doing, man? How's your job? And notice people.
The TV veteran says he's learned a lot working with Father Barron and was humbled by the opportunity.
I'm like the Pony Express. I just deliver something. I'm a delivery boy. I was happy to be a delivery boy of a good message, but I'm certainly way down on the list of importance of that. But I'm glad I'm part of that delivery service anyway. You're proud of the product, right? You go, I'm bringing something, carrying something to somebody else, and it's going to make their life better.
One of the main themes of the conference was on Jesus' mercy and forgiveness, and how we need to be able to forgive others who disappoint us, just as Christ forgives us over and over again.
The Bible claims that human history is a story of sin and grace. It's a story of peril and rescue.
Alice Camille, author, catechist, and retreat leader, also addressed the crowd. Camille, who writes for Living with Christ, encouraged those gathered to be like Christ in the world and to learn to forgive.
It's nice to talk about it as a catechist or as a preacher, but it's another thing to actually live it, and obviously we fall down on that score every day. I have to remind myself, okay, come from love. Don't come from anger, don't come from, resentment, come from love. And it really changes everything you do when you do that.
The day included lunch, and women had the chance to visit with dozens of Catholic vendors. Women also had the opportunity to go to confession and attend Eucharistic adoration. Allison Gingras, the founder of Reconciled to You Ministries, was the 3rd speaker of the day. She hosts a radio program on realliferadio.com. Gingras spoke about grace and emphasized the importance of spending time with Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament.
It's a place for him to speak, because God speaks to us in the whispers. So I go to adoration. Here I am in heaven, that foretaste of heaven. I'm alone with him. I'm quiet for once. And I think that's another gift of grace, because that grace from the Eucharist is happening right there. And he's feeding us in that moment.
And women were being fed spiritually at the conference. Trish Ragone and Rita Hutchinson attended the conference for the first time this year. They are both parishioners at Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament in Westfield.
I came because it was a beautiful opportunity to enrich my life spiritually, and we're always looking to do that and expand our knowledge of Catholicism and just hear some beautiful speakers so far, and it's just a wonderful opportunity.
We joined this little crusade here this morning to be with Christ, and I think these speakers have given us a face of Jesus again, and I can't get enough of him, and it's just awesome. Really, it's a beautiful day.
A day for women to focus on Christ and to feel renewed so that they can carry his message well beyond their parish community. Reporting for Reel to Reel, I'm Carolee McGrath.
And with another successful women's conference under their belts, the committee says they have already begun planning for next year's conference. It's well known that St. John Paul II had a very strong devotion to Mary, the Mother of God. Last summer, we traveled to Poland in the footsteps of this beloved saint to the shrine of Our Lady of Czestochowa at the Jasna Gora Monastery with its Black Madonna icon. With Mother's Day this weekend, we take a look back now at this shrine dedicated to the most important mother of all. Poland's national shrine, home to the Black Madonna.
W dniu dzisiejszym nie będzie zasłonięcia cudownego obrazu.
A sacred icon historically linked to protecting the people of Poland. Millions of pilgrims visit this shrine each year. Last July, pilgrims on the Catholic Communications pilgrimage to Poland were reminded of the importance of this shrine as a place of rich symbolism and national memory. Dedicated to the most important mother to all Catholics, Mary, the mother of Jesus. Lenny O'Loughlin, who came on the pilgrimage with her husband Jim, said she was especially drawn to this shrine dedicated to Mary. Her own mother was born in Poland.
My mother came from Poland when she was 19 years old, and she was sponsored by her sisters who found her work, and she became an American citizen and was a wonderful, wonderful mother.
The history goes back very far for this shrine. In 1384, Prince Ladislaus, a prince of the Jagiellonian dynasty, built a special chapel to house the Black Madonna. In the chapel, the Black Madonna hangs above the altar. According to legend, St. Luke painted the icon on a plank from Christ's family home in Nazareth. The 4-foot-high painting displays a traditional composition well known in the icons of Eastern Christians. The Virgin Mary is depicted showing the way, directing attention away from herself, gesturing her right hand toward Jesus as the source of salvation, and the child in turn extends his right hand toward the viewer in blessing, while holding a book of Gospels in his left hand. The 2 scars on Mary's face were cut by Hussite swords 550 years ago. The picture is so revered that it is kept veiled in silver and is shown only at certain hours of the day.
And Mary, God's mother, pilgrim began to read the prayer answered.
This shrine, dedicated to Mary, the Mother of God, is a reminder of the significance of Mary in the lives of all Catholics, says Father Daly.
It's very important for us to give honor and respect to our mothers, our own mothers here on earth. So how much more respect should we have for the Mother of God, the Mother of our Lord?
I think a mother's part in life is so important, and the love a mother shares with her children, has for her children, is just powerful, and it carries a lot of strength in their learning and their guidance and their upbringing and their love forever. The trip here is just, it's like a miracle. Sharon, it has blown me away, totally blown me away. Excuse me, today in the Lady of Chance Jehovah in church, says it all. The Mass and everything, just what a mother means.
And as we close out the show today, a special Happy Mother's Day to all of our mothers, godmothers, grandmothers, foster mothers, adopted mothers, stepmothers, aunts, mothers-in-law. Did I forget anyone? Tomorrow is your special day, and I hope you enjoy it. I know I will as I head out to spend the day moving my daughter out of her college dorm. Remember, you can stay informed on all of the latest happenings by logging on to our news and information website, iobserve.org, and there you will get news on the Catholic Church, locally and from across the globe. That's iobserve.org. And don't forget to also friend us on Facebook. We're at Catholic Communications. Join me again next week for another edition of Real to Real, your window on the world around you. Have a great week.
Real to Real is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.